Hey everyone. Yeah, I know I'm probably a little late to this, but I want to first of all send my condolences, my prayers, my condolences uh, to Lauren, to Joni Laura's family. Joni, of course, better known to fans like myself as Chyna. I also want to send my condolences and prayers to Roger Nelson, Prince, as he was known to fans and his family. I'll tell, excuse me. I'll tell you, folks, it's been a very newsworthy 24 hours or so. Especially if you grew up as a wrestling fan in the 90s during the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era, well, mostly the Attitude Era, I should say, and throughout the 80s and 90s and 2000s, if you were a music lover and you were a fan of Prince. Now, I'll tell you this. The way I found out about China is I came home from work last night, a little after 9 o'clock. Last night, of course, being now Wednesday, Wednesday night. I came home. I I turned on my Kindle, looked at Facebook. I don't know if I saw it on here or not, which is my phone or my iPod. I don't know which one, but I know it was mostly on my Kindle. And I saw the news that she had passed away. Chyna, that is, that Chyna had passed away. And like the Lex Man, who almost automatically did a video on it, very short, I was surprised. I mean, I know some people might say you shouldn't be too surprised, but I was surprised, really. I mean, true, she wasn't, from what we saw on her YouTube channel, which was Tokyo China. True, she wasn't in the best of health. Well, I'm not saying the best of health, but I would say she was kind of, you kind of knew something was off. And especially when you looked throughout all her videos and all the reports coming out of her doing this, her wanting to do, I think, a documentary or something, trying to get back into WWE to at least do that, or at least something on that manner. To um, to her going out, and I remember watching the video. I remember watching her do a reply to something Stephanie McMahon had talked about, and she replied to that in a not a rant, but basically calling Stephanie McMahon out on what she said. So to find out that she passed was was a legitimate surprise. I mean, I know she had some drug issues. She went into rehab. She did celebrity rehab to kind of get over her drugs, and it seemed like she was doing okay. I mean, it seemed like I said, she was doing okay, and unfortunately, that wasn't the case. She obviously, she had her moments. We know that. Apparently, some say she didn't look so well in the last few days, or something. The reports coming out, but yeah, it was. It's. I'm still kind of shocked over it. Still can't believe that it's real. Because I remember it was almost like yesterday. As a matter of fact, you can pull it up here on YouTube. Uh, her last major, and I mean major wrestling event, uh, and appearance was not for GLCA, Great Lakes Championship Wrestling's Blizzard Brawl. It wasn't that, no. It was actually, in my opinion, for TNA Wrestling several years ago when she competed in a mixed tag match with Kurt Angle against Jeff and Karen Jarrett. And she looked all right there. I mean, she looked like she could still kind of go. I mean, true, she wasn't as agile as she was before, but she looked like she could still go in the ring. And um, it's just hard to imagine that. When did that match happen? Well, when did that match happen? About what, 2000? When did that match happen? What, 2011 or so? It doesn't even feel like it was that long ago. And to know that she is now no longer with us, it is sad. I remember watching a lot of Chyna during the Attitude Era. I remember, heck, I remember when I was living in Oskaloosa, Kansas, and all I got to see was WCW, because that's all the cable company my father had, the cable provider, or the cable that my dad had from the cable provider that he got it from, didn't have USA until maybe several years later. Well, actually, many years later, believe it or not. They didn't have USA. Instead, they had TNT and they had TBS. So that's how I was able to watch wrestling, and all I watched was WCW. Of course, when UPN acquired WWE SmackDown, then yeah, I was able to still kind of have access. I was once again, I should say, able to have access to WWE. And it was through the SmackDown run, through the run on SmackDown, that I was able to see more of Chyna. I mean, I had heard about her even while I was living in Oskaloosa, heard about her through magazines. I think they had some syndication going on with WWF at the time still, so I think I was still able to watch it through that. So yeah, I saw her. I didn't see when she debuted, but I heard about it. So I think I did see it at one point during the syndication shows. I can't remember, but yeah, um, yeah, it's hard to believe, and and to just know she's gone, it's really hard. I mean, I can't even think about what I want to say anymore, because it's still a shock. It's really still a shock to me and to any other wrestling fan out there. I mean, you know, I have, and it's in the closet here, along with several other issues of Playboy, basically the the women wrestling themed ones. I have Chyna's, and I think Chyna's was the second most sold Playboy in history. So I have Chyna's in there, and I know that's going to be a valuable collectible now, very valuable. And again, it's just hard to believe that she's gone. But hopefully she, as my mom would say, got to know the Lord, got introduced to Jesus, got introduced to the Lord, and accepted Him into her heart before she passed, and hopefully now she's in a better place. So again, my prayers and condolences go out to her and her family. And as far as Prince goes, I will say this: as a kid growing up, the only real artist I ever really paid attention to was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's Beat It, and I think Billie Jean, well, mostly Beat It, introduced me to his music, and that's what made me a fan. But for every one of us in my family, between me and my siblings, me and my sisters, we all had a favorite. I had Michael. Shannon, my older sister Shannon, she had Janet Jackson. And my second older sister Stephanie, she had Whitney Houston and she had Prince. And it's hard to believe that within the span of 24 hours, I mean, again, I look on social media and it says Prince dies. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what in the world's going on? I mean, first, Chyna, now Prince. It's, and still it's shocking. I did listen to some of his music. I mean, I listened to Purple Rain. Loved that. I love that. I love that song. Even though, it's based off the movie Purple Rain. I listened to When Doves Cry, which I found out from both my parents was their favorite song out of that because they liked how it went. I liked Bat Dance because I was part of Batman, but it's hard. It's hard to believe he's gone now. And that's within the span of not even 24 hours this happens. Now, according to reports about both passings, Prince was found unresponsive in an elevator, and Chyna, she was found unresponsive in her bed at her home, in her apartment. And apparently, according to sources, she had been that way for a day. Basically, no one had checked on her to that moment. Again, it's hard to imagine that within the span of less than 12 hours, or less than 24 hours, this happens. I don't know what to say anymore. When Michael passed, it was a shock. I sat back in 2009 in that reclining chair in my living room, and I was like this. I didn't budge. I was completely in shock. When Whitney Houston passed, my nephew, who's now in the Navy, he was on his laptop just like I am on mine, and he's like, "Grandma, did you hear?" And did you hear about Did you hear about Whitney Houston? And she's like, "No, what?" And he's like, "She passed away. She died." And she couldn't believe it. And then all of a sudden, she turns on the news, and it's all there. And it's kind of hard to believe. Within the span of not even 7 years, Michael, Whitney, and Prince gone. It's hard to believe. Not even 7 years, man. And these are singers, these are icons of music and even film, of entertainment in general, that not only graced the Super Bowl with their own performances. Michael with his Super Bowl halftime performance, Whitney with her rendition of the national anthem, and Prince with his halftime performance. It's hard. It's hard to even think. It's hard to even fathom. And then you take a look at the wrestling, the death in wrestling, and Blackjack Mulligan, now Chyna. And back in November, Nick Bockwinkel. It's hard to believe. I can't even come up with any words right now to even express how I feel. I mean, I am saddened. I am very saddened at the fact that Chyna's gone. I'm saddened at the fact Prince is gone. I mean, my Independence Living counselor, Renita Wilkes in Lawrence, Kansas, is a huge Prince fan. She is. She's a huge Prince fan. I even told my mom she had a screen save her on her computer of Prince. I'm not joking. She even went to one of his concerts in Kansas City one time. And I'm sure she's gone to others. But just it's just one of those days in history. It's one of those historic days in entertainment. And I'm not talking historic from a positive standpoint. I'm talking a historic day in entertainment of mourning, of sadness. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say, but like my mom said, has told me many times when this kind of stuff happens. You hope and pray that they got introduced to the Lord Jesus and they accepted him into their hearts before they moved on. And I hope that Chyna did that, Joni Lauren, and I hope Prince Roger Nelson did that. And again, my prayers and condolences go out to the family of both. You know what's funny? It's only a few days before this Doris Roberts passes away. And she was the same age as Queen Elizabeth, who is now the longest reigning, oldest monarch in history. Just, again, just can't really put the words together to say anything else. So, again, my prayers and condolences go out to the families. May the Lord be with Joni Lauren's family and Prince Roger Nelson's family at this time. If you guys got any memories of both, let me know down below. Let us all know. Comment, video if you want to. Thank you all for watching.